aardvark, an animal of southern Africa. Dutch colonists gave it its name, which means earth pig, because it resembles in some respects the pig, and because of the amazing efficiency with which it can burrow into the ground. The reputation of the aardvark as food for humans is good. It is commonly described as tasting like pork.
A few years ago, I was given this book for Christmas. It's called The Oxford Companion to Food. It was written by a man called Alan Davison, and it's an encyclopedia of everything that a human being can eat, from aardvark to zucchini. Now, when I first got it, I thought this is great, perfect for a hobby cook and extremely greedy person like me. But over the weeks and then the months, I found myself becoming increasingly fascinated by it and drawn again and again to leaf through its many entries and enjoy all this incredible, extraordinary detail. And I gradually realised that this is actually far, far more than just a food reference book.
Eyes of certain animals and fish are considered a delicacy in some culinary cultures, but regarded as horrifying morsels by most people in the Western world. In Laos, the eyes of the giant catfish of the Mekong are among the most highly esteemed parts of this highly esteemed fish.
Now, in the space of that one short entry, you've learned about history, geography, culture, and I think that goes to the heart of what makes this book so special. I think what Alan Davison created in his eccentric, freewheeling, intellectually curious, erudite way was nothing less than a kind of portrait of the whole human race in all its ingenuity, told exclusively through stories about the food we eat. To find out more about this remarkable book and the man who wrote it, I'm following in his globe-trotting footsteps. The journey will take me to the shores of the Mekong River in Southeast Asia, to sample some of the culinary delights of the remote country of Laos.
OK, I'm going to try the skin of a buffalo. It's like a sort of buffalo-flavoured jelly baby.
But there have been some interesting taste experiences nearer to home as well. I've also encountered Alan Davison acolytes eagerly turning vegetables into musical instruments. And I've met some of his most ardent admirers.
It is the greatest book in the English language. I don't mince my words. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
We're very pleased.
It took Alan Davison 20 years to write The Oxford Companion. But that's not the only extraordinary thing about his career as a food writer, or his life. He had also once been a British ambassador.
Well, I had a career as a diplomat, and I finished...
I couldn't interview the man himself. Alan Davison died in 2003. So if I'm going to build up a picture of him, I'll have to do it by talking to his friends, family, and some of the many people he's influenced. I'm starting in London, where, just as in Alan Davidson's book, the range of cuisines spans the entire globe. I've come to meet the celebrated New Zealand chef, Peter Gordon, who cooks with the same spirit of freedom and culinary curiosity that you find in the Oxford Companion to Food. So, Peter, thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure.
Tell me if I'm in the way. I've never been in a restaurant kitchen before.
OK.
I'm here really to find out what you think of Alan Davidson's book.
Well, I think his book is probably the best reference book, food reference book. A lot of people, I think, when they think of the book itself, they think it's going to have recipes and stuff, and it's remarkable that it has none. It's, for me, the sort of food that I love to do, I love to collect things from around the world. So our ingredients are from the Middle East, from North Africa, from Southeast Asia, and it's all the places that Alan loves. You know, there are some chefs to whom this book would mean absolutely nothing, you know, but we don't mix with those sort of chefs. And then there are chefs like ourselves who are inquisitive, and we appreciate the world of food. I've assembled an array of odd ingredients. These are long pepper. This one here is the miso. I've got bonito, it's a mackerel tuna family. Star anise. Other ingredients that Alan talks about are lotus root.
This technique of combining ingredients from around the world, fusion cuisine has transformed cooking today. Peter Gordon was one of its pioneers.
There's a tree fungus.
And Alan Davidson's book
Nice big
could be
body.
described as the Bible of the movement.
And this is what Alan says seems to be the purpose. Actually, you could even grab in there. It says the purpose of squid seems to be...
Maybe shall I see if I can...
Yeah,
I'll find
marked
squid.
a few pages.
Oh, you've
there.
marked it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll find it, I'll find it. The architecture of squid is simple. All squid are remarkable in one respect. The processes of natural selection have operated on them in a manner which suggests that fitness for being stuffed by cooks in kitchens was a criterion for their survival.
And that's what I love about it. You know, he's got... It's one man's take on food. I'm going to poach these. I'm going to put these in now with the lotus root. Let's go in here. And we'll slice some rings. Knowing you were coming today, I wanted to see what Alan had to say about squid, and he talks about it's almost like a type of squid noodle that's eaten in, I think, in northern Japan. Do you want to eat some raw squid?
Yeah, thank you. Raw squid. That is fabulous. Eating Peter's homage to the Oxford Companion is a bit like munching on the book itself. That's sensational. It's the whole world brought together on a plate. No wonder a chef like Peter sees Davidson almost as a kind of food guru.
This man spent 20 years writing what I think is probably the most important food book that I've ever read. You know, this man, he came from the diplomatic corps who had quite an intriguing life. He became my hero, and I'm someone who's kind of considered a bit of a rebel in food, and it's always fascinated me that someone from his background and someone from my background could have so much in common. So I mean, he's a hero, really is. A large part of Davidson's genius as a food writer is his tongue-in-cheek style, filling what could have been a rather dry textbook with exotic detail and wry reflections on life.
Dragonfly, a kind of insect which is eaten in many Asian countries. In Bali, children caught dragonflies by holding latex-tipped poles higher than the places where dragonflies were perched. This induced the rank-conscious dragonflies to fly up and land on the tip of the poles, where they became stuck. Thus, among dragonflies, as among other and larger species, excessive consideration for rank may spell doom.